quiet stream, tracing time through every theme. Stories unfold with gentle grace, exploring minds, a timeless space. Welcome to where ideas gleam. Whispers of thought in a quiet stream, tracing time through every theme. Stories unfold with gentle grace, exploring minds, a timeless space. Welcome to where ideas gleam.
Good morning, friends. On this day of independence, we will today focus on this episode of Mind Mining, whether AYUSH medicines or traditional medicines, which is one of the heritage of this India today, whether it is a magic remedy or a logic remedy. So in this episode, we are going to see how the entire terminology of magic remedy came into practice, came into public domain, and what is logic remedy we are talking about here. Through this deliberation in this podcast, AYUSH medicines, magic or logic. Magic is the use of supernatural forces to create effects that defy natural laws and evoke a sense of wonder. Magic is an effective use of laws of physics to create illusion and virtual reality, to make people believe things that they can't imagine under normal circumstances with common sense. Many a times, due to scientific shortcuts and lack of wisdom or vested intentions, traditional practices are termed as magics. AYUSH medicines, which include Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy, are sometimes colloquially referred to as magic remedies because of their holistic approach to health, centuries-old practices and perceived miraculous benefits that they offer in managing various ailments by the abusers and consortium of evidence-based practitioners. This label is often rooted due to popular perception rather than clinical evidence, reflecting how traditional healing systems are seen to work gently and naturally, sometimes achieving results where conventional treatments may fall short, and surprise at most times evoke doubts. Hence the term magic remedies can be misleading, as AYUSH therapies are grounded in specific philosophical and medicinal principles, not in supernatural effects. The label sometimes diminishes the scientific foundations and the extensive yet unfortunately undocumented traditional knowledge that backs these systems. The Indian government, through the Ministry of AYUSH, has been promoting scientific research and clinical validation to establish the efficacy of AYUSH therapies more formally. The term magic remedies has not been historically attributed to Ayurvedic medicines by any specific person. However, the phrase gained legal significance in India through the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act for the Objectionable Advertisements in the year 1954, which regulates advertisements claiming miraculous cures in allopathic, Ayurvedic and other traditional medicines to prevent misleading claims. The Act used magic remedies broadly to address exaggerated claims rather than any official or scientific designation of Ayurvedic or traditional medicines as magical. Few examples of companies that faced action for violating the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act in India are: in the year 2016, company XX was scrutinized for promoting certain products with exaggerated health claims, including remedies for diabetes, blood pressure and joint pain. The Advertising Standards Council of India, which is ASCI, flagged multiple ads for making unsubstantiated claims, leading to corrective action. In 2021, company YY faced legal issues when its advertisements claimed their products could effectively cure severe conditions like diabetes and hypertension. The claims were deemed misleading as they lacked scientific validation. Known for producing traditional Ayurvedic products, company ZZ received warnings for advertisements that overstated the effects of some formulations, including claims to cure serious illnesses, violating the Magic Remedies Act. These cases emphasize the importance of responsible advertising and adherence to regulations in the AYUSH sector. So let's understand what specific issues that require tightening of administration. In 2020, we all know company AA promoted Proxozin as a COVID-19 cure without sufficient scientific evidence. The claim received widespread criticism, leading to government intervention. Authorities required company A to revise its labeling and advertise proxazine as an immunity booster instead of a cure for COVID-19. Company YY's Ayurveda diabetes cure claim, which advertised certain products as a permanent cure for diabetes without clinical support for the claim. This led the ASCI to issue a warning highlighting that such ads could mislead patients into abandoning conventional treatment for diabetes management. Company ZZ's anti-asthma and cancer treatment claims, which faced scrutiny for ads claiming that certain products could treat asthma and even cancer effectively. These advertisements lacked clinical evidence and were flagged for making unverified promises about serious health conditions. These examples not only underscore the importance of evidence-based products and communication with adherence to introductory regulatory standards in licensing AYUSH products responsibly. To avoid being tagged as magic remedies, companies manufacturing AYUSH products should follow scientific validation, that is, invest in clinical trials and scientific research to validate claims with evidence-based outcomes at product introduction. Comply with regulations, adhere to guidelines set by regulatory authorities like Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954 and Ministry of AYUSH, avoiding exaggerated or misleading health claims. Use transparent marketing, for example, focus on educational marketing that clearly explains the benefits based on evidence-based traditional knowledge and scientific support rather than promising miraculous cures. They should label responsibly, ensuring product labels and advertisements are accurate, emphasizing well-supported benefits and safe usage without overstated promises. Engage in certification, often quality certifications like WHO standard GMP or ISO, to build credibility and consumer trust, emphasizing safety and efficacy. By maintaining these standards, both AYUSH and its companies can promote products responsibly and enhance public trust in traditional medicine. Global red flags is a regular phenomenon by multiple countries across developed world, makes manufacturers decategorize their products to expand global presence. That's mostly because the complex regulation of traditional medicines across different countries. That is largely due to multiple factors, with no single party solely to blame. Historical and cultural vulnerability and variability. Each country has its own historical and cultural ties to traditional medicine, such as Ayurveda in India, traditional Chinese medicines or CTM or TCM in China, and Native American herbal practices in the US. These unique roots have led countries to develop independent regulatory standards based on local needs and beliefs rather than a unified global standard. Lack of global regulatory authority is one of the problems. The World Health Organization (WHO) provides guidance but lacks the power to enforce regulations globally. As a result, countries are free to adopt WHO recommendations to suit their own regulatory frameworks and health policies, leading to varied levels of regulation. There is also scientific and evidence gaps. The limited availability of scientific research and clinical validation for many traditional medicines makes it difficult to develop global standards. Since evidence-based criteria differ across countries, regulators often rely on local practices and existing cultural acceptance when setting standards, which contributes to inconsistency. Political and economic interest is one of the factors that needs to be accounted here. National interests often shape the health regulations. We all know that. Countries with strong traditional medicine markets looser regulatory frameworks to encourage domestic industry growth, while others impose stricter standards to protect their markets or healthcare systems. This variation reflects different political and economic agendas regarding traditional medicine. Lack of collaborative mechanisms is one of the areas where political motives, political alignment, diplomatic moves makes a lot of change. Despite some efforts to promote international collaboration on traditional medicine, limited cross-border regulatory cooperation makes it challenging. Take the example of India and Nepal to achieve harmonized standards. Diverse legal and health priorities make consistency difficult, especially without formal frameworks for international regulatory alignment. We see the same happening between Mauritius and India as of today. The varied regulation of traditional medicine as a result of historical, cultural, scientific, political and organizational factors, greater collaboration between countries, increased funding for scientific research and a stronger role for organizations like WHO could help address these inconsistencies. WHO, that is World Health Organization, has made strides in acknowledging and integrating traditional medicine through initiatives like its traditional medicine strategy between the year 2014 to 2023 and the establishment of the Global Center for Traditional Medicine in India. However, WHO still faces challenges in effectively evaluating and standardizing the traditional medicine globally. One of the major reasons is lack of standardized frameworks. Traditional medicine systems vary widely across cultures with unique methodologies, terminologies, and diagnostic approaches. WHO lacks a unified framework to evaluate the safety, efficacy, and quality of these diverse practices, making it challenging to apply consistent global standards. Of course, there are limited clinical research and evidences. Many traditional practices lack large-scale clinical trials or high-quality scientific evidence due to resource constraints or reliance on oral traditions. WHO's focus on evidence-based approaches makes it difficult to assess practices with minimal or culturally distinct documentation. Funding and having required resources will always be a challenge. The WHO's resources are often prioritized for urgent global health issues, leaving limited funding for establishing an independent, robust wing dedicated solely to traditional medicine per se. This financial limitation affects the organization's ability to do research, standardize, and provide guidance on traditional medicines globally. Regulatory diversity and legal constraints is also quite paramount. Different countries have varied regulatory requirements for traditional medicine. This diversity, combined with WHO's non-regulatory role, limits its ability to enforce guidelines, as WHO can only provide recommendations that countries may or may not adopt. Balancing cultural sensitivity with scientific rigor is not very easy. WHO must respect cultural practices while promoting scientifically validated health practices. Striking this balance is very critical and it's very complex and can slow down efforts to create a dedicated wing with rigorous evaluation standards. To address these gaps, WHO could benefit from increased funding, partnerships with research institutions, and collaboration with regulatory bodies worldwide. This would enhance its capacity to create a comprehensive framework for evaluating traditional medicine systems and foster global acceptance through evidence-based validation. There are some good amount of work that is already in progress and in process. Hope they will bring some good results in the years and days to come. Therefore, at the end, what I can say on behalf of the AYUSH, fraternity, that the magic remedy needs to be taken care of with evidence-based documented approach at the origin to ensure all innovations in the field of healthcare doesn't face tragic localized fate. In fact, the good news has come yesterday only, where Supreme Court of India has disposed the writ petition that was lodged by IMA against the advertising anomalies of AYUSH, some of the AYUSH companies who were not following the guidelines of claims, which was laid down by the Rule 170. So therefore, now responsible companies, responsible parties in the business of AYUSH, they would drive this with more logical ways rather than magical ways, and therefore be more responsible while advertising the benefits and the validated healthcare of AYUSH to the rest of the world. Thank you so much. I guess you liked this episode of Mind Mining regarding AYUSH, whether it's a magic remedy and logic remedy, and how it is logic remedy and not magic remedy altogether, based on facts, evidences, examples, and things to be done going forward. Thank you so much. Wish you all a very, very happy Indian Independence Day.
Whispers of thought in a quiet stream, tracing time through every theme. Stories unfold with gentle grace, exploring minds, a timeless space. Welcome to where ideas gleam.